Okay, great. Welcome in this part of the training. And right now I'm really excited because we are going to create several articles and we are going to create them fast with this methodology right here. So as you can see, I have a node open right here. And this is actually a node that I captured on the fly. And let me emphasize how important it is to really capture the ideas as soon as you have them, right? So that is something that I talk about in detail in my note-taking courses, but yeah, you definitely want to really set something up in a robust way so that you can really don't lose any ideas, so that you can, when comes time to actually start writing, you can execute on them. So this is like the first part, how we're going to use the note-taking system. It's really about saving and capturing ideas when we have them. And number two is that when it comes to the ideation process, okay, how I'm going to fill this article, what idea am I going to use, and what examples, etc., etc. This is, again, when I'm going to use my note-taking system, if I see that I don't have any inspiration at all. So this article right here, as you can see, I have the title, I have kind of a raw outline, and this is something that I had the idea on the fly, and yesterday when I just went for my daily walk, I just had a few ideas, and I simply, added them to the raw note, right? So that's all I've done. So again, the ideation process is not really something that you really have to block out time for. Usually ideas will come when, let's say, when you're driving, when you're under shower, when you're walking, when you're doing something that's not quote unquote work related, right? The amount of great ideas that I had in front of a screen working aren't that many, to say it in a political correct way. So I assume that you are going to simply record your ideas, and once you're ready to actually execute on them, you will start with something like this, right? So in order actually to create a lot of Medium articles fast, there are actually different ways to do it. So the first way is simply, having the outline, simply start writing with your own words. This is what I've used before, I started actually using ChatGPT. And yeah, it doesn't really have to be very complicated. So there is really kind of a structure that I like, which is actually just simply coming up with a quick introduction or a quick punchline, right? At the beginning of everything I actually create, more or less follows the same kind of structure. So let me just lay out the structure for you. So usually the structure goes like this. So you have kind of a punchline, right? Which means that, okay, SEO is dead, or I didn't believe it, or the timing was crazy, or most people or most creators scoff when it comes to writing Medium articles. Like something that is just here to actually grab attention, right? So the attention grabber is just kind of a punchline. And then I'm actually expanding on this punchline. Usually it goes with actually explaining the concept, right? And also perhaps by making, adding some kind of analogy, by adding a real life example, and by demonstrating or adding some proof, right? So here is why, blah, blah, blah. Okay, explaining that kind of stuff. So this usually, takes 3 to 5 sentences, something like this. And then you have some kind of either a teaser or kind of a conclusion. So if, let's say, you are in an introduction, you're writing an introduction or subheaders, everything follows actually the same principle. This makes it so easy, and it also makes your ideas way sharper, and it just makes content so much better. So obviously, when you're writing an introduction, then you're going to add a teaser, right? You're not going to conclude the article in the introduction. When you are writing a conclusion, right? So conclusion again follows this more or less the same outline. You may want to conclude, which means that, I don't know, all this to say that SEO ain't that, or SEO ain't that, let's say, if your article is about, why SEO, the 5 reasons why SEO works still works in 2035, something like this, right? So your conclusion could be SEO ain't that, or a teaser could be, and if you want to, let's say, learn more about how to implement an effective SEO strategy in your business, click here, or watch out for my next article. Depending on how you want to structure this. Could be a CTA for, sign up for my free email course, etc., etc. But yeah, usually that's actually the kind of skeleton that I'm using. And the thing is, when, let's say, you are within the midst of writing your article, so if we actually map out an article, it's actually, we have an introduction, right? And then we have, let's say, idea number 1, and then we have idea number 2, and then we have at least idea number 3. And then, we can expand on that based on that. I like at least to start with 3 ideas. So, and then we have obviously the conclusion. So the thing is that we are going to use this same structure in all the sections of the article, which means that even when it comes, let's say, to our first idea, we could then have either a teaser or a conclusion, right? So a conclusion, when I say conclusion, it could be the conclusion about the idea number 1 right here. And when it's a teaser, then it could be, okay, this is exactly what I'm going to show you in the next section. So, or this brings us to the next section. So as an example, if, let's say, I was about to talk about so let's take the SEO example. So idea number 1, it's like, there are many people still searching for SEO. So people search on Google. People search on Google, right? People are still searching on Google. So I could actually, come up with a punchline and then explaining the concept, the reasons why people are still searching on Google, or some kind of proof, right? So let's say 98 point blah 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 % of people are still opening Google every time, multiple times per day, right? Or the average person open Google 72 times per day. I'm just bringing this up, right? So just really to explain you the concept. And then think of, I could have to say an analogy to illustrate the point, which means that people are still spending more time on Google than they were spending on, I don't know, on DMs or something like this, right? Obviously, if I have something to back this up. Then I could actually end the first idea with, but that's not the only thing that people are actually doing, which actually then teases idea number 2 could be something else, right? Or it could be a conclusion like, people are still searching on Google, right? Simply, you really, drive actually the main idea, you drive it home again. So this is really to show you that we're going to use the same structure all across the board, right? So once we've actually have and know exactly what structure to follow, then what we simply have to do, we have to fill in the blanks, right? So as I told you, there are 2 ways to do it. So either you just start writing, or you could use actually ChatGPT in order to do that. But the thing is that once you actually have this, don't you see that actually writing an article is way easier? It's because you know that you have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to tackle, and you're going to use the same structure in every of your different sections. So what will happen is that I'm pretty bad at actually writing and explaining things at the same time. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm simply going to stop the video right here. I'm going to write this. I'm going to get my ugly first draft done. Should take, I think, around 15 or 20 minutes or so, right? And why I would encourage you to do so before actually using ChatGPT is because it will help you, especially when you're starting out, right? When you're just, starting out writing, creating content, you didn't really some time to really come up with your unique methodologies with unique concepts, right? And this, honestly, this doesn't happen just by the magic of a prompt. You just need to sit down, write, think, okay, does this make sense or not? But the thing is, the more you're going to do this, the more you're going to get used to it. So we're going to turn this article into several articles, especially using ChatGPT, right? But really for the first draft and for you actually really understanding the ideas and really making a point, you're simply going to write this by yourself by using this specific structure. So I'm going to pause the video right here. I'm simply going to write the first draft, right, without making any corrections and keeping everything as raw as possible. And then we're going to see how we can actually make this better using ChatGPT. So yeah, I'm going to stop this video right now, and I see you in the next one.